What is going on, YouTube? We are back. We are here to talk Week 3 predictions for college football. I'm your host Dalton Lee of the Fumble Podcast, and let's just jump right into it. We got a couple games we're going to talk about. We got a couple big games, some interesting matchups to watch all across the day on Saturday. So let's just jump right on into them. So our first one we got Clemson Georgia Tech. Now about 3 weeks ago, I said I don't really care for this game, but with the events that are occurring with Clemson, I think it's a big deal for them. Georgia Tech, they're looking solid. They're undefeated. They've played good. Clemson hasn't. That defense has, but that offense, I don't. I'm starting more and more to lose faith in that offense. Their star receiver Antonio Williams might not play, so that's a big deal, because obviously, apparently, he makes the world of a difference when you go down 16-0 against Troy at home last week. You again, you pull out the win in the end, but it wasn't really because of Klubnik. It's because the defense stepped up in the second half and the running game stepped up in the second half, which I'm still shocked about because they hadn't really ran the ball well all year. But if Clemson wants to prove that they're a dominant team, they need to go out here and handle business. Will they? I do not know. I realistically don't see a world where they don't win this game because Georgia Tech I really think is only reliable if Haynes King runs the ball 15, 20 times, but he's already banged up. I don't know if he's really ready to run 15, 20 times against Clemson just because that team is full of hard hitters, solid defense, you name it. But I'm taking Clemson in this one straight up. I mean, there's no reason for them to not win, and I mean the line's only at 3.5. I think Clemson's going to cover that easily by at least I would think a touchdown. A touchdown. I don't know how high scoring of a game it will be, but if Clemson gets pushed around, anything like they did against Troy, Georgia Tech is better. Georgia Tech will make them pay if that occurs. 3:30. Georgia Tennessee opening up SEC play. This is the topper echelons of quote unquote conferences, so to speak. I don't know if that's the case now, but about 5 years ago we would say it was. But this is, I want to say, a rivalry over the last couple years, but is it really? Tennessee hasn't won this matchup since head coach Heupel has gotten to the program, and Georgia, again, a stacked defense that just plays out of their mind. This game, I don't know what's going to happen because Georgia's offense, I don't know what to make of it. They have had two very underwhelming performances against Marshall in FCS Austin Pay. So defenses look fine. I think the defense will be great as always. But I don't know what to make of this offense. I mean, they haven't really showed that they can run the ball effectively. They got Gunnar Stockton out here throwing the ball 30 plus times against teams that they should run all over. And even then, it's not looking amazing. They're winning games, and that's what matters in this league. But I don't know how effective it is as they start going into conference play and playing against better opponents. But Kirby Smart has yet to lose to Tennessee since Coach Heupel's been there. In fact, he hasn't let Tennessee score more than 17 points in the last 5 years since Heupel's been there. And Georgia has had some great defenses, but on the contrary, Tennessee's had some really, really effective, high efficiency offenses, and they still can't score more than 17. I think a lot of that plays into the system that Heupel likes to run. It's a lot of heavy run, receiver choice routes, RPO game, and against a sound, fundamental Georgia team that plays a lot of man coverage, it's hard to run those choice routes. That's why I think last year when Tennessee was somewhat effective was because they had Nico who could scramble and move and be an extra problem on offense. I don't know if Joey Aguilar is necessarily ready to do that. And I don't even know if Joey Aguilar is ready for this type of game because Joey Aguilar's been playing college football for, you know, 4 or 5 years now, but he hasn't had to play a team close to this level. Nowhere close. Didn't play a team close to this at App State or UCLA. So this is going to be a rude awakening for Joey Aguilar, I believe. Granted, in his favor, it is at home, so he doesn't have to go into Athens and play the Bulldogs. But Bulldogs are going to bring intensity. They're going to be ultra focused. I mean, I'm sure Kirby Smart has been yelling at them up and down since week one, let alone last week. So I don't see a world where Tennessee wins this game. I think it'll be a close, low scoring game. I could see it being a 21-14, 21-17 type game. But I don't see a world where Tennessee comes out on top in this game. They may show some flashes, but I don't think they're going to be efficient enough to keep up with Georgia just because of that defense. I think that defense is going to terrorize Tennessee. Granted, Tennessee's also got a good defense, so I think realistically, whoever can run the ball more effectively is going to win this game because then their passing game is going to open up. But if neither team can run the ball, be ready for some punter highlights. I better see some incredible punting, or defense is going to have to score a touchdown. It's going to be one of those types of games. But I don't see a world where Tennessee comes out on top in this situation. They can keep it close, but I don't think they are ready still for Georgia. Which, at this point, do we need to start questioning Heupel? Heupel's put out some good teams. They've made the playoff once last year, but they got embarrassed by Ohio State. You put up another half-ass performance. I mean, is Heupel the guy? Is he ready to coach a championship level offense? They figured out defense, but are they ready for the offense? This game's going to tell if he is or isn't. At 4:30, a game I wasn't really expecting to be talking about at this point in the season, but we have to because we got South Florida, ranked number 18 in the country, going into Miami to play number 5, Miami Hurricanes. And beginning of the year, everybody was circling USF as an easy win, just a walk in the park. But they come out and beat Boise State week 1. Then they turn around and go into the swamp and beat the Florida Gators. All of a sudden, they're ranked number 18, back-to-back ranked wins, trying to go for their third. I don't agree necessarily with the line of 17.5. We got a Miami team that's played one game, looked really good, really solid in that game. I mean, they made plays, offense and defense. But they're coming off a bye. They've only played one game. And this USF team has been playing good. But with all that being said, I don't think USF, talent-wise, is ready to go against this Miami team. I mean, that defense looks like, especially that D-line looks like a top 5 D-line unit in the country. I don't know if USF is ready to deal with those type of headaches. I don't know if Bruce Brown, the quarterback of USF, is going to be able to Superman his way out and bring out a win like he did last week. And I don't think USF defense is capable of keeping up with that Miami offense. I mean, they may surprise us, but if I were a betting man, I'm willing to bet Miami's got more athleticism on both sides of the ball compared to USF. But the line at 17.5 is kind of crazy. I think Miami handles solidly, but I don't think they're beating them by more than 17. I think USF will be a pesky first half team. Miami will get together in the second half and just handle business like they should. I think Mario Cristobal is starting to get over that hump of tight, close games and figuring out how to win them. I wouldn't say I'm fully confident in his decision making yet, but it helps when you got Carson Beck back there slicing and dicing and dealing to his wideouts that are making plays. It helps when you have a good, efficient run game. And it really helps when you have a D line that you're arguing has top five potential. I think it makes it easier to close out games because you can just tell your boys go ball. It'll be an interesting matchup for sure, but I don't see a world where Miami doesn't win this game. Just being straight up at this point. Then we got another matchup that was slated to be a great game, but now I don't foresee it. We got Florida Gators, unranked Florida Gators, going into Death Valley to play LSU. And I'm going to start with Florida here. I don't know what Florida's doing. I really don't, on offense at least. Defensively, I think they're solid. I think they're able to keep up with a lot of teams in the SEC. Offensively, I don't know what they're doing. With Billy Napier, the offense is supposed to be a run oriented team that opens up the pass game with play action to be able to hit big shots while running the ball. The problem is they can't run the ball. They couldn't run the ball against USF. And then when they were trying to throw the ball, they couldn't even pass protect to give Lagway a chance. Granted, Lagway missed a couple, I won't say layups, but college level throws. But is it due to the fact that he's inaccurate? Or is it the fact that he feels flustered in the pocket because he has no real pocket, because he's getting pressured by USF? And if he's getting pressured by USF, what do you think is going to happen when they play this LSU team that has two potential first round picks on just their D line between Harold Perkins and all those linebackers? I don't think Florida can block them straight up, especially in Death Valley, a night game in Death Valley. It's going to be a long day for that Florida offense. The defense might be able to kind of keep them in the game for a little bit, but if I were to have to pick between Lagway or Nussmeier, I trust Nussmeier more in this game. Nussmeier's played in a couple of these big games now. Already this year, he's already played in one. He went into Clemson, beat Clemson, was really efficient, got the ball to his playmakers. I I think he'll do the same thing Saturday night. I just don't foresee a world where, again, LSU loses this game. 7.5 is probably about right. I think Clemson could, not Clemson, LSU could probably win by more than 7. I could see it being a 10 to 14 point game easily. I wouldn't say more just because that Florida team is defensively still really solid, but you go into Death Valley, you lose this game. I think there genuinely needs to be a serious conversation about Billy Napier's job. I know we talked about it last year. Last year he was on the hot seat, and then they won 6 of their last 7. He got to keep his job. I think now is when you seriously got to sit down and be like, it's not working. We're being just fine defensively. We're bringing in talent, but we can't execute offensively to save our lives. I think that's a big deal. I mean, that's all I really got to say on this LSU Florida game, just because I don't foresee it being that good of a game. Maybe in the first half, maybe for the first couple possessions, maybe the Florida team gets stopped, maybe they can get a score, but it's not going to be pretty for one side, and that's going to be Florida. I don't think they're ready to play against this team. I think LSU should be able to handle them just fine and coast their way to week 3. And then we got a rematch from last year's week 1. We got A&M and Notre Dame. Notre Dame coming off of a loss. A&M being 2-0. Hadn't looked super impressive, but again, wins are wins. It's going to be an interesting game. It's in South Bend. Notre Dame hasn't started 0-2 since the 90s. And A&M hasn't beaten a ranked non-conference opponent since like the late 60s. So that's just a little history for you to throw out there. I'm going to start with A&M. I'm worried about that defense, which is interesting to say for a Mike Elko-led team. Normally they're known for good to great defenses. Last year had a really good defense. That's what kept them in a lot of games when the offense couldn't really move the ball. This year, I don't think that defense is nearly as good. They did lose a couple starters to both the transfer portal and the NFL, so they're having to work through those growing pains. But there's been a lot of busted coverages that have come out in these lower tier games, so I am a little concerned. I don't know how well that defensive line is going to hold up against this Notre Dame line. Granted, I don't know if Notre Dame really has that great of an offensive line. They didn't look great against Miami. Or is Miami's defensive line really that good, like we're thinking top five? But the pros is I think the offense has taken some steps in the right direction compared to last year. I think Marcel Reed has cleaned up his accuracy, has gotten a lot more efficient throwing the ball. I think they got him some good weapons. I think Concepcion has been solid for him. I mean, that guy's got speed. He can run on the outside, run on the inside. I wouldn't throw him a slant over the middle. He might get folded and break something, but in open space, I mean, he's arguably one of the best open field players when you get him the ball. So I think offensively they'll be able to do just fine. But I'm interested to see how this defense is going to play against Notre Dame. Now on Notre Dame, yes, you lost your first game of the year to a really good Miami team. I mean, you're still number 8 in the country. They're number 5. That was a coin flip of a game when y'all played. The first order of business, you got to get Jeremiah Love the ball. He needs more than 10 touches in this game if you're going to have any type of success. Last year, you gave him the ball a ton, very efficient. This year, I think you got to do the same thing, especially in a game like this. Get him the ball early and often. It's just going to only make things easier on both your offensive line and your quarterback. This is quarterback's second start. He looked good in the first start. Made a couple good plays. He had turnover, but he made a couple good plays. But I don't think we need to rely on him to play hero ball for your team. When you got a guy like Jeremiah Love in the backfield that can help take a lot of that weight off and help wear down that defense to open up the passing game for CJ Carr. And I think if they do that, they're going to be just fine. I think it's going to be a great game. I think this might be the best game of the weekend, honestly. Maybe Tennessee and Georgia if you like a lot of defense, but I think this one's got potential for some really good offenses. Just because I don't know if that Notre Dame defense is also meeting up to the Marcus Freeman standard. This might be the worst defense Marcus Freeman has put on the field since becoming the head coach. Granted, I'm not saying they're bad by any means. They're not what they were the last 2-3 years. So I think this is going to be a very back and forth, kind of high scoring game. The line's at 6.5 Notre Dame. I would probably take Notre Dame, but I think I would take A&M to cover. I think it's going to be a field goal difference of a game. It probably will be whoever can get consecutive stops on the opponent and who gets ball last, whichever really happens. But I'm excited for that game for sure. Those are the big games of the week. I do want to talk about one other game, which is Saturday night, 8 o'clock on ESPN. Duke's going to Tulane. Darren Mensah is going to play his former team. Initially, when these lines came out, Duke was a 2.5 point underdog. Now I think the line shifted to a 1.5 point favorite. I think after the embarrassing loss last week to Illinois, Duke's can come out and play lights out. I think the defense, if they did what they did in the first half against Illinois, they're going to be just fine. The offense, I got to see a little more consistency on both the run and pass game. I think Mensah is a great player. I just think he's got a little bit of a fumbling issue. I think he's got to be a little more aware of where guys defensively are around him, be able to wrap up the ball a little bit. But if he gets time to throw that ball, he can make almost any throw in college football. And he's got weapons. Andrell Anthony is a big body athlete. Cooper Barkate is an athlete. He's got two really good tight ends between Hasley and Landon King. He's got good running backs. The offensive line moved Illinois pretty good for a good chunk of that game last week. So I think if they come out and establish that run and just set a tone early on both sides of the trenches, I think Duke's going to handle Tulane fairly easy and use it as a good tune-up game before they got to start ACC play next week with hosting NC State, who I think plays tonight, if I'm not mistaken. Correct, they do play tonight. They play at 7:30. They go to Winston-Salem to play Wake Forest Demons. I hadn't really planned on talking about this game, but since I got pulled up, I'll talk about it a little bit. Normally, State doesn't play very good against Wake Forest. They didn't last year. They lost to Wake Forest last year in a game where Grayson McCall, it was the game that retired him medically, and then CJ Bailey had to come in. And yet, they were still in the game until Wake Forest scores late, and then Bailey, on a potential game-winning drive, throws an interception first play. So I think a lot of guys that were on that team last year are looking to kind of get their get back against Wake Forest. And Wake Forest, I think, is just looking to go out there and put out good tape and play good. Both are 2-0. I will say, so far this year, I haven't really been impressed with NC State. I understand they're 2-0, but it's come down to, ultimately, their two wins have come down to a failed fourth down conversion in the red zone by ECU in a game that probably shouldn't have been that close. I mean, NC State had almost 200 more yards. And then when they played Virginia last Saturday, it came down to a potential game-winning drive that the Virginia quarterback just makes a terrible read and throws straight to the NC State DB in the end zone. So I understand State has been making plays when they needed to, but at some point, I don't think they're going to be able to keep getting bailed out like that, especially when it comes to increase opponent play. I'm not saying Wake Forest is a dramatic jump up from a Virginia or ECU, but their schedule only gets harder from here, really. I mean, they do got to play Duke. Duke is better than a lot of ACC schools. I don't really know who all else is on state schedule, but they do have some tougher games coming up. I do know that. So I think it'll be competitive. I might still take NC State in this, but I'm gonna take Wake Forest cover. They got that line at 7.5. I think it's gonna be a one score game. I feel like the last couple years it's always been a one score game. So that's gonna be interesting. Now on the tail end of it, we have our first Amazon Prime Thursday Night Football matchup. So I'm gonna talk about this a little bit now because this video is coming out right before that game starts at 8 o'clock. So if you stuck around for all this, hit the like, subscribe. If you're enjoying what's going on, let me know in the comments below. I'll reach out to you. So our matchup tonight is two 1-0 teams. We got the Commanders going to Green Bay. Both look really good in their debut games. I would say for sure it's going to be a matter of whose quarterback gets protected better. That Packers D-line was absolutely demolishing Jared Goff and that offensive line for the Lions. The Commanders' defense as a whole played solid. Didn't get a whole lot of pressure on Russell Wilson. But, again, it was week one. Teams are only going to start playing better as the year goes along. I do think there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game. I mean, you got Jordan Love that if he continues playing like he did in the first half of the Packers game, I mean, he's lighting up the scoreboard. But so is Jaden Daniels. I mean, we got two fringe stars, potential superstars playing in this game, and they got weapons. Jaden Daniels has the rookie quarterback, Bill. He's just a Bill. Just running all over the place. He's still got Terry McLaurin. He's still got Debo. I mean, Zach Ertz is out here making plays in his old age. I mean, they just got it all. On the Packers side, they still got Josh Jacobs. They got Tucker Kraft, Jaden Reed. They just extended Christian Watson to a 1 year deal, but I don't know if he's going to suit up tonight. He's been questionable with injuries, but they still got first round pick this year, Matthew Golden. They got several reliable guys. I don't know if they have necessarily a true number one yet. I think that's why they drafted Golden, was to be their true number one, but I don't know if he's ready for that yet. But in this game, I am going to take the Packers. I trust LaFleur more in these close games. I do think the Packers got the better defense, especially with that D line. You got Gary and Micah Parsons both coming off the edge. You still got athletic linebackers. The only thing defensively I would say that's going for the Commanders is that I think they got a better linebacking core, and I think they got a better secondary, and they do have a defensive oriented head coach. So they hang their heads on defense and being better on defense, but I'm still going to take the Packers. I do think it's going to be a one-score game for sure. I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. I could see this getting into a 38-31, 38-35 type game just with the amount of playmakers on both sides of the ball. But we're going to get a really good matchup between the two, and I'm excited to watch all these games, both tonight and Saturday. I just think it's going to be a great weekend of football yet again, and I just can't wait. So, got, any, got anything you disagree with? Anything you agree with me on? Let me know. If not, I hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for tomorrow. I got my NFL picks coming out. Till then, deuces.